Hi, welcome to another episode of Mind Your Business. This is my weekly video podcast. Here I like to talk about business. Today I get the opportunity to interview a very fabulous woman who has invented or co-founded an organization that supports women in business. Meghan is a systems thinker and strategist, passionate about designing solutions that bring real value to customers, corporations, and communities. She has spent her entire career focused geographically on African markets and functionally on innovation strategy. Meghan McCormick is a systems thinker and strategist, passionate about designing solutions that bring real value to customers, corporations, and communities. She has spent her career focused geographically on African markets and functionally on innovation strategy. She started her work as a community economic development volunteer in the Peace Corps in Guinea. During her service, she founded Guinea's first business accelerator, Dare to Innovate, and scaled it to be French-speaking Africa's most active small business accelerator. Currently, Meghan is the co-founder and CEO of OZÉ, a fintech company that equips African entrepreneurs to make data-driven decisions to both improve their business performance and access capital. Outside of her entrepreneurial endeavors, Meghan worked as an innovation strategy at Doblin, the innovation unit of Monitor Deloitte. Meghan has an MBA from MIT, where she has a Legatum Fellow for Entrepreneurship in Emerging Markets and an MPA from the Harvard Kennedy School, where she was a Cheng Fellow in the Social Innovation and Change Initiative, and a Foreign Language and Area Fellow focused on West Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Great. So first of all, I did read your bio. I saw the schools, all the elite schools, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was just going on. Have you seen a black girl blush before? That's so me. I would blush. I was all like, your bio is outstanding. And I know it's just a little bit of who you are. So let's start by you telling us who Meghan is.
So I would say that at my core, I'm an entrepreneur. I think my whole life I've been trying to create solutions for problems. And that really is what an entrepreneur is. I started really young, like doing that in the nonprofit space. So started around the early 2000s, nonprofit around HIV, AIDS, education and awareness. Actually as a middle schooler, as a secondary school student, or is that primary school in Ghana? We have a different system in the US. And really, get fulfillment and enjoy working through problems that are difficult to solve, but that when you bring together collective resources, creativity, new processes, you're able to start chopping away at them bit by bit. And ultimately, at the end of the day, look back and say, like, wow, this thing that we're working on has had meaningful change. And so I think that entrepreneurial spirit, like, obviously, it's a huge part of my work life, but I think also it's a part of who I am as a person.
Fantastic. Now, you grew up in the US, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Think about it, maybe when you were in high school or in the junior, I forget how you call it now, junior, primary, what were some of the challenges that as a child you solved and you felt that sense of fulfillment?
So I would say I was always very curious. I was lucky to grow up in a very affluent community. And it was a community where you weren't really confronted by real problems every day. I mean, obviously, everyone has problems in their homes, but everyone had a safety net, had a cushion. We're going to good schools. Even if they didn't study hard, you knew they were going to get a job. And yet they had all this privilege and so much apathy. And I've always been somebody who is curious about things outside of my community. I mean, obviously, as a person living and working in Ghana, I've strayed very, very far from my community. And I've just always been very curious about, you know, what is it like to live somewhere else, to work somewhere else. And so I think the problems that I was trying to solve in elementary school and middle school and high school were really focused around how to pull people out of apathy and get them to use their resources and talent to, first of all, understanding that not everybody lives like you do. And then also using those resources and that influence to make change. And in high school, I became very involved in the performing arts. You wouldn't know it now, but I actually studied theater in college, in university. And yeah, I'm a long way away from theater to fintech. But I started a social enterprise on my university campus because as somebody who kind of grew up in theater, I saw the theater as a really, really great place for building creative thinking skills, teamwork, collaboration, goals orientation. My team, I know you know some of the members of the OZÉ team, will tell you I'm like very, very strict on deadlines. And I think that comes from the theater background, right? If the show goes up on Saturday night, like the show's going up. You can't say, oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't feeling well yesterday, so I didn't paint the set. Like the show is going up. And so kind of, I think my first big entrepreneurial endeavor was in university, creating a production company that leveraged the talents of university students where I was studying at Georgetown University to put on musical theater performances that then would generate revenue that could be invested in arts education. So then the same performers that were on stage would go into area high schools and teach theater classes, not so much designed around, you know, how can you do the best dance moves or have the best singing voice, but how can you use theater as a tool for social change? How can you use theater to find your voice? And so I say, but before I got into this world of helping entrepreneurs and working with entrepreneurs, I was very much focused around arts education and how we could use theater for social change.
Fantastic. And so at this time, you were between 18 and 22, I suppose. So you were really quite young and you had this brilliant idea, you know, like I like the way you say it was not just about showing off your talents, but how you can use it to solve problems. That's amazing. And that right there gave me goosebumps. So I have this thing where people tease me. I'm always getting goosebumps on shows, right? So yeah, you just gave me my first one for this interview. Now, looking at your bio, I see that you've been in Africa. You know, first you were in Guinea, now you live in Ghana. Is it a G countries, the countries that start with G? But
I
then
briefly lived in Benin, so there's a B in there as well.
In there, yeah. So I'm curious to understand why the focus on Africa. How did it all start for you?
I joined the Peace Corps out of college. I was a Peace Corps volunteer. I have French language skills, so it was very likely they were going to send me to West Africa. Okay. When I joined the Peace Corps, if I talked to friends from my childhood, they weren't surprised. They said, you've always talked about joining the Peace Corps. But for me, when I look back on like the rational career path that I was taking, I had interned at a management consulting firm that did a lot of work in mostly North Africa and across emerging markets. And the types of problems that practice got to solve, which was setting up, you know, regional areas of economic competitiveness. Like, can we create an economic zone between Algeria and Egypt that collectively then, you know, can do more than any one of those countries could do? These kinds of problems. And I was like, okay, that's really interesting. If I'm going to work 80-hour weeks, I would like to be working towards something that I think will have meaningful impact. As you know, someone who grew up in the US, had no ties to any emerging market, that I couldn't just as a 22-year-old be like, oh, I want to work in this really prestigious practice. So put me on these projects. And so I needed some real world experience. And the firm was a really great place to work. They brought in Teach for America, which is a big US nonprofit the last week of our internship, and they said, anybody who wants to go Teach for America for 2 years, if we give you an offer, we'll hold it for 2 years. And I said, well, what about the Peace Corps? And they said, okay, sure. So I ended up going to Guinea thinking, had never heard of Guinea before. Like got my package in the mail. Like, I don't know how much the audience will know about Guinea, but it's a place that's had a lot of political turmoil. So when I applied to the Peace Corps, you couldn't even be a Peace Corps volunteer in Guinea. So when I was researching the Francophone countries that I thought they would send me to, I was looking at Togo, I was looking at Senegal, and then in the mail, I got this huge paper packet saying, you're going to Guinea. And I was like, oh, okay, where's Guinea? And really thought, okay, I'm going to go to Guinea for 2 years. I'm going to get experience. I'm going to come back and be a management consultant. And that will be my life. And when I started working in Guinea, like the assets that Guinea has are in stark contrast to the challenges that Guinea faces. Like, it's really like they have enough water that they could be powering with hydroelectricity, like all of Africa. And yet even the capital city doesn't have stable electricity. Like, I mean, where I lived, I had no electricity. Like, we weren't on the grid. And I wasn't in like the most remote village. I was in like the 4th largest city. Their soil is so rich that you spit out a mango seed and like the next day you have a mango tree. Wow. And yet they have like deep food insecurity. And the young people are creative problem solvers, like working through the challenges of living in this environment. And yet they had 70% youth unemployment for university grads. So like you go to college and you're still more likely than not to get a job. And so I'd say like Guinea really like put its hooks in me, and I was like, okay, we have to fix this. Like, there's no reason. Like I overlanded to Senegal, and you leave this like lush, vibrant Guinea to go to this like arid Senegal, and you're like, how is this country so much more developed? And obviously there's a long, long history that can help answer that question, but I wanted to change that future. And so I became very interested in issues of youth unemployment and entrepreneurship, and how we can help youth start businesses and have those businesses break the norm and actually create jobs, because West Africa is incredibly entrepreneurial. Like Ghana has some of the highest rates of female entrepreneurship in the world. But very low in terms of creating jobs. So around 93% are sole proprietors. And so if our entrepreneurs can't create jobs, then we expect every single person to be an entrepreneur. And obviously that's not the way that markets work. And so if that's the problem that you become fascinated about solving, then West Africa is a really good place to build a career. So that's kind of how I ended up sticking around the region.
Wow. And this has been how long exactly since you started in Africa?
I came to Guinea. I got on a plane with, 2 bags and a plan to live there for 2 years, having never been to anywhere in Africa before. That was in 2011.
2011. Wow. So that's 10 years now.
Yeah, November will be the 10 years of me first moving to Guinea.
I see. And now let's talk about OZÉ. First of all, I think since January, I've been trying it, and I'm like, it's what's the word? It's magic. Like I needed that 6 years ago. And so I'm so happy that I've already recommended this to my business coaching clients and all. And I'm so happy to have the founder or co-founder of this company here to talk about us. Tell us first, what inspired you to start this project or this company OZÉ, and how was the experience like founding this company in Africa?
Yeah, so everything ties back to Guinea. So when I was a volunteer there, I ended up starting the country's first business accelerator. This was back 2012 era, and growing it to be one of the largest business accelerators in French-speaking Africa. And so because of that, I had like my sleeves rolled up working with so many, like thousands of entrepreneurs. And time again, we would get to the point where they'd say, oh, something's not working in my business. And I'd say, okay, like, let's talk about it. Are we spending too much? Are we not selling to the right people? Are we not selling the right products? And they would say things like, oh, I feel, I think. I'm like, no, you can know these things. There's data. Like, tell me.
Exactly.
And if you wanted to get into the data, it would literally involve me getting into like what we call there a bush taxi. They don't even have a bus network. You wouldn't get to take like a VIP bus. They don't exist. To go up country, to then sit down with this massive ledger book and spend hours typing it into Excel just to then, write a formula, press a button and be like, yes, things aren't going well because your inputs cost more than your selling price. Mm-hmm. And so knowing that like we actually needed a tool to help the business owners digitize their data and then also present that data back to them in a way that made it easy for them to make a decision, right? Mm-hmm. Like I don't want to tell someone who, like the one that comes to mind, just because I have such vivid memories of working with his ledgers, is a veterinary scientist, right? Really good at caring for animals, didn't know anything about accounting. So like I would never tell him like, oh, you have a problem. There's an imbalance between like your accounts payable and your accounts, right? We don't use any accounting language. So my first thought was, okay, this must exist, right? The issues of small business owners keeping records is a global issue, and therefore there must be an appropriate technology tool. So then we did a big search and we couldn't find anything. And then we started bit by bit kind of building the system that we wanted to have. In that, we started learning, okay, like, we were doing this within the accelerator, which was a nonprofit, and looking kind of at the failures of the nonprofit model in terms of scaling. Like if we look at global brands, very rarely are they a nonprofit. The global brands are for profit. Like that profit motivation helps get the finances you need to scale. Mm-hmm. So we ended up moving it out of the nonprofit, moving it out of Guinea, although I'm happy to say we're back there now, and trying to find a market that would be conducive to building out this application, not just for entrepreneurs, but with entrepreneurs. And that's how I ended up in Ghana. And about, I think it's ended up being like 26 entrepreneurs joined us for like our first pilot and worked with OZÉ before. Like I can't write code. So we had made like a kind of no code prototype. They were using it. They were telling me, oh, it's such magic. I get these beautiful charts of my performance. Not realizing that the magic was me taking their data down at the end of the day, staying on PowerPoint and Excel all night, and then WhatsApping it back. So we've come a very, very long way since those days. But that's how I ended up founding OZÉ. It was really, feeling and seeing and working with entrepreneurs and saying, okay, this is a need. And then if you help a business owner make more money, they're happy to pay you for that service. So this doesn't have to be a nonprofit. This can be a global scale fintech company.
Yeah. And, from the way you are talking about it, it sounded like it was easy peasy lemon squeezy, like my son would say. Was it really?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I think...
I like that sigh.
I don't even know where to begin. I would say as a leader, the hardest thing for me has been learning to manage people whose jobs I can't do. Like if you think about like everything that I've worked on in my past, anyone who was working for me, I could probably do what they did, maybe even do it better. And that's why they were working for me. But now we enter this realm of technology where I can't write code. I don't know how long something should take. I don't know if what we're doing is technologically impossible and that's why it's not working, or if you're just not working hard, or if you don't have the skills and the capacity. And so that was really hard. Like changing my leadership style, my management style has always been like, I'll never ask somebody to do something that I wouldn't do. Like I would always be like, if you need help, like I will sit next to you, like we will do this together. And like, I mean, all that happens if I sit next to a developer while they're doing their work is like, I annoy them. So like having to like re-change the way that you support people in doing their work, it was really hard. And we now have really strong like leadership in place to manage the technical team. But, for a long time, you're just like, you feel so unsure of yourself because you don't know what's going on. So I'd say that was really hard. obviously like getting the capital that you need to build something as ambitious as OZÉ. I mean, anyone who's listening to this as an entrepreneur is like, yeah, like no one will invest in my business. This is so hard. And like, I mean, I'm privileged. I have global networks. I have, people who are willing to take a bet on me. But when we first started fundraising for OZÉ, we got kind of that same like, oh, honey, OZÉ is a charity. I'm like, one, never call me honey again. Two, like, oh, you would be astounded. I mean, I'm 32. I know I look young. Like 4 years ago, before OZÉ really wore me down, I looked younger. And I have a young voice. But yeah, like people really are like, oh, this is like basically treating like, oh, this is cute. Like this nonprofit girl, this Peace Corps volunteer wants to try to use technology to make more impact. I'm like, yes, like if we get this solution to work and work at scale, like we will transform the economic reality for millions of people. But I will also, if you give me money today and I hit that goal, you will be rich. Like you will absolutely be rich. And so that it's getting better now. Obviously, like there's some great fintech companies who have come before us who are now demonstrating a lot of success for their investors. And now the world is looking towards Africa as the next frontier market, but it for sure has not. It's not even like it hasn't always been that way. Like it's so recently that it's becoming that way. And if you're trying to do something groundbreaking, like you need the top talent, and the top talent is expensive. So you can get trapped in this kind of cycle of mediocrity if you don't go out and raise capital. And you have to always make sure that you're ahead of that. So that was also another challenging thing. And then software is just hard. Like, especially our customers, like they're used to WhatsApp. Like WhatsApp doesn't break. WhatsApp has like so many developers 24/7, right? Yeah. Our first versions of OZÉ were buggy. Like we had like 2 software engineers like doing their best, but when you're making something new, it's never going to be perfect. And finding ways to communicate that to customers while also assuring them that nothing is going to happen to their data. Like, and we've never lost a customer's data. But, it's a high trust thing. You sharing your financial data with another company. And so being like, yes, things will get better. Yes, there might be bugs, but yes, also like the security of your data is our number one priority. And that is one thing like we don't cut corners on. That's also, very difficult for an early stage company.
Wow. I mean, let me just say congratulations. As you are speaking, I can identify with some of the stuff you mentioned, like, managing someone whose qualifications you have no idea about. You don't even know the work. You don't even know what to expect at the end. You don't know how long it will take. It can be frustrating. Yeah. For you to get over that hurdle alone, let me just clap for you. Seriously, I can only imagine, I already am bald and I'm sure I'll lose all my hair if I went through what you did. So congratulations. I coach women. I have a community of fabulous women who are doing amazing in terms of their business. And I do this show so that we can learn more from people like you and do business better. Now, you've been a startup before. You know how hard it is already to be producing or attempting to make a product and then sell. I mean, these are 2 key things. I guess even to make the product, if you have the knowledge, it's easy. Selling is already hard for people. And then we have to add bookkeeping. It's like, oh my God, this is too hard. Yeah. Just yesterday also, I was saying that, what? Why can't someone else take over the managing of my finances so I can just focus on the work, the core, But obviously, the financial part is also super important here.
Yes.
And, now with the bookkeeping bit, and tell us, how do you make it easy for us? Promise us that you have the solution and that we can come to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like you, like the global you of people who never got into business because they're like want to keep records. No one's like, oh, let me start a business. I can't wait to do accounting. My co-founder, Dave, I think is one of the few people who like gets joy out of accounting. But like I'm before he joined the company, like the first developer that we had, like he didn't want to like push me too hard because he knew like we didn't have a lot of funds. And he's like, oh, just by the way, like you haven't paid me in 3 months. I'm like, oh, I didn't need to not pay you. Like I have the money set aside. I'm sorry, like never wait 3 months. And like, I'm pretty sure that if you like dug into like the bottom of my purse and like the back of my closet, you would find like envelopes of receipts from 2018 that have never been submitted. Like, so I would say like the first thing is like, if you are someone who doesn't feel like record keeping is your strong suit, like you're in good hands because I'm building for people like you because I'm one of the people like you.
Exactly.
So that's the first thing I would say. And when I think about like, oh, I hate this, I hate keeping records, I try to think about the benefits, right? And the benefits are really twofold. Like the benefit today is your business. So you can make really good decisions about your business, right? If you don't know it, you can't do anything about it, right? If you've been, let's say, dating a guy for a week and he's in a really bad mood, you have no idea why that is. But if it's your husband, you're like, oh, it's because the beginning of the month is hard for him at work, or like he's fasting or whatever, right? So to solve a problem, like you have to know the thing. And so when you're keeping records, you're knowing like, okay, like this month I feel like I have less money. Oh, I do have less money. Oh, it's because Ghana added a 30% fuel tax and now fuel has become my top expense. Or, I love the color blue, let's say, so I'm going to produce lots of blue earrings. But if I look back at my records and I see, oh, it's actually red earrings that are moving fast, I know, okay, let me not waste my resources on buying inventory of blue earrings. Yeah. So you make better decisions today, you make more money. 97% of businesses that use OZÉ consistently are growing, profitable, or both. Fantastic. And so that's really like, you keep records, you do better. Like the science is there, keep records, you do better. So that's like the number one thing. The second thing is when you're doing better, you might say, okay, I want a loan or I want an investor so that I'm growing today, but I need money to grow faster. I need money to get where I need to go. I need to stop, just going to Makola to buy more fabric. I need to get it straight from Dubai or straight from GTP. Like I need to buy in bulk so that I can get these discounts. If you don't have any financial records, nobody's going to give you money. Absolutely. Like at all. So keeping records, you're doing better today and you're setting yourself up to do better tomorrow. So I like to keep that in mind when I think about the challenges, because I'm not going to lie, like record keeping is work. Doing it in OZÉ is a lot easier, a lot more intuitive. I hope a lot more fun, but it's still work. Like OZÉ is not going to like magically spring arms and spring legs and be a person and go get the receipt and go collect the money. But a couple of things is we try to make it so you can enter something in as few clicks as possible, that you can enter it even if you're offline, if you have no data, you're outside the coverage zone, that you can send a digital receipt directly to your customer. And that can help you remember, like, I need to record this now because I want to send Amma a receipt. I'm not going to wait. Oh, when I'm home, I'll do it because when I'm home, I'll do it becomes tomorrow, becomes the next day. Exactly. So we try to put in little tactics to make it easier and help you remind it. You can set up reminders to come to you on certain days of the week, certain times of the day to keep you keeping records. And so those are the small things that we do to make it easier. And I will say you're the first to know it, that this month we will be releasing payments features, so that you can actually collect payments from your customers through OZÉ.
Oh my gosh, really? Including international?
Including international.
Oh my God, like, so let's say you buy my course and then you need to pay me $1 million. Okay,
Yes.
Oh my God, that is so amazing. Are you working with, is it PayPal or any of those?
So we're working with, for local Ghana payments, we're working with Emergent Payments. For outside of Ghana payments, we're working with Flutterwave. And Flutterwave has agreements with PayPal, with WeChat, I think, with Alibaba. So there are ways through the OZÉ system to get out to those other other methods of payments, collecting payments from outside.
That's amazing. And now that you mentioned, it means there's even so much more possibilities. You can actually so then I can, all my payments can just go through OZÉ at a point.
And then you don't have to record it anymore.
And I don't have to. That is amazing. And speaking of recording, so let me tell you something funny that happened a couple of nights ago. So a lady made a donation to the Fabulous Woman Network, and then she just sent me, the mobile money receipt. And then in a few seconds, I sent her a receipt, and she was like, "Madam, how did you come up with the receipt so fast?" Yeah, it makes it so much easier, right? Like it's really beautiful. And like so today is second. So yesterday I downloaded all my accounts, my records for 1st to 31st August. I already know how much I made. I know how much is going into taxes. Everything is there. So it's really, I say it's easy. People probably think that I'm going on and on. But you tell us, can you just give us an idea of how the process is like? Because, Meghan, the truth is, like, I have an iPhone, but my daughter is so upset with me because I don't use like 90% of the features on it. I'm like, I don't need it. But how easy is it really to use OZÉ? Aside from what Duncan says, you tell us.
So OZÉ is designed to be as easy as WhatsApp, because anyone who has a smartphone in Ghana, they're on WhatsApp. No matter what they tell you, they're on WhatsApp. And they're using, like, I would call myself, like, not quite a digital native, but I'm tech savvy, let's say. And like, I don't know the features on WhatsApp that like any random person selling in Ghana knows on WhatsApp. So we try to make it just as simple, just as easy. If you have an iPhone, you go to the App Store. If you have an Android, you go to the Play Store. You just download it. You set up your business profile. It takes like less than 2 minutes. We don't ask you like, go bring me your registration documents. Like, we don't care. Like, you can be a side hustler. You don't have to be a formal business to use OZÉ.
Yeah.
And so we try to make it the one thing that you need to really think about when you open your OZÉ account is like, how much cash do I have today in my business? Because now we're going to use that as the base. Every time you get a sale that's paid, it goes up. Every time you get an expense that's paid, it goes down. But if that's something you don't know off the top of your head, you can always estimate, and then we have a way to come back in and edit. You can edit that yourself once you go check your Momo, check your bank account, check your Susu box. So the other thing that makes it really easy is you've probably never talked to a support person at WhatsApp or Facebook. Like, I don't think you can find them. There's no way, right?
No.
But OZÉ, we're people sitting in Accra. So we even have people in Kumasi, we have people in Takoradi. So like, if you need us, we're there. And you can contact an OZÉ coach directly through the app, directly through WhatsApp. And if you're like, I'm not comfortable with this is too hard, I'm not good with my phone, we will talk you through it. We will send you YouTube videos. We'll invite you to training programs. And we're really there to kind of help you get the tools you need to succeed.
Absolutely.
And I think something we haven't talked about yet is for businesses that are active on OZÉ. So every sale, every expense that's going in, after 90 days, you become eligible to get a loan. And these loans are cheaper than quick money. They're cheaper than your local savings and loans. And you don't have to have collateral. And you can take the loan personally for your business instead of needing to have all of the registration documents.
Wow.
And you don't have to even get off your couch. By the fact that you're using OZÉ consistently, we know who you are as a business person. We trust you. That data all comes into our algorithm and says, oh, okay, over 6 months, Amma can have 25,000 CDs and pay it back. And they do. Like, we've had no defaults.
Really?
We've been doing this for over a year. We started during the Ghana stay-at-home orders when business was hard for everybody. And we have no defaults. And so when we talk about like it being easy, there's like no easier way to get a loan through OZÉ. I like to be careful with the word easy, right? Because with taking a loan is a huge business decision. And just because you don't have to run here, there, and everywhere to apply for it, that doesn't mean you should just take it and do whatever it is that you like with it. but business people are busy. Don't tell me to go queue at the bank for 4 hours in the middle of the workday so that I can get loan to stock up on inventory. And so that's one of the big benefits too of if you're consistently using OZÉ, you have on-demand access to credit. We've been dispersing in less than a day from when people apply. And we're getting to the point where for very active OZÉ users, it can be instant. So you send an invoice to a customer. The customer is not going to pay you for 90 days, but you need money now to be able to fulfill that order. You can request it through OZÉ and get it directly debited or directly deposited into OZÉ for you, like that. So those are the things like I said, record keeping, we're making it as easy as possible, but it is work. But these other things that are even more work, we're also trying to make them easy so that people feel compelled to put themselves like in the right place to be managing their business from a source of strength.
Fantastic. Before I get to my next question, you mentioned trainings for people who sign up, right? And I was just wondering, are you planning to come to Kumasi anytime soon?
So we've been doing everything since COVID on Facebook Live and Zoom. Okay. So anyone can come. We do have a fantastic business coach based in Kumasi. He's been running around different accelerators doing trainings currently. So, Isaac Afenu.
Oh, Isaac, I didn't know he's right here in Kumasi with me.
He's right there in Kumasi.
Oh, I see. Fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I come to Kumasi like once a quarter. So we're around Kumasi.
Yeah, so you totally need to come check Fab Hub Ashanti out. So that's our business incubation space for women in business. So next time you're in Kumasi, please.
I will be there.
Yes. So anyway, to my next question, tell us about some of your achievements or top achievements with this business.
So for me, the biggest achievements are the achievements of our customers. Like we're like, if they succeed, we succeed. If using OZÉ is nothing but a headache, like you're not going to succeed, we're not going to succeed. So I think about, one customer that worked with us, she was making like house cleaning products, hand sanitizers. COVID comes along. Now the market is flooded with sanitizer products, and FDA stamped down and said, no, you need to be certified. And she didn't have the money to complete the certification process. So because she was a long-time OZÉ user, she was able to apply for a loan. She got the loan, she got FDA certified. Now that she's FDA certified, of course the demand is there, and she's stocking through gas station, through supermarket. So now she needs more money to buy in bulk. And she paid back her first loan on time. So she got a second loan, much, much bigger instantly, and was able to stock up and sell. And now we don't even bother her for loans because she has enough free cash flow that she doesn't even want us to talk about loans with her. So it's stories like that. There's another business that I was analyzing the records with them just the other day. They doubled their sales from 2019 to 2020. Then they doubled already in 2021. They've made more than they've made in all of 2020.
Fantastic.
So they're on track to double again. They've expanded from just Ghana to Nigeria. They're using OZÉ now for both countries. And so these are the kinds of success stories. Like I'm excited because, we have like almost 30,000 businesses using OZÉ. Like that's great. But what's more great is each one of those successful entrepreneurs, they'll become loyal OZÉ customers, and they'll tell other entrepreneurs, like, you have to be managing your business on OZÉ.
Fantastic. And I remember yesterday when I was making payments for the month for OZÉ, because I use it on my iPhone, I buy it through App Store. Is that the name?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so I was thinking, so for people who are not either comfortable buying it off App Store or for whatever reason, I know in Ghana we use mobile monies and these a lot. So I was thinking, is there an option for people to pay via mobile money instead of buying it directly from the app?
Yeah. So for Android, it's all mobile money. Very recently, the App Store changed their policies so that you can't use anything but Apple Pay on the Apple App Store. Okay. So now we're finding ways to bring that option back, but we need to be careful because if they think you're breaking their rules, then they block you. But that's why on the Apple Store, it's like that. Of course, there's always a workaround. So if you're someone who's like really not comfortable, you just reach out to the OZÉ coach and we can help you pay in a different way. But yeah, for Android users, it's all Momo.
Wow. Thank you. This has been really insightful. I've enjoyed this conversation. But before I let you go, and obviously you'll give us a link to find you on social media and all, right? But I have these 3 short questions for you. So I say the sentence, half of it, and then you finish it for me, okay? The first one, if I could advise my younger self in one short sentence, I would say,
make better relationships with your professors.
Why professors though?
I feel like you get all these smart people who are like so much more experienced than you, who like all they do is mentor young people and think. And you're like, I'm going to pop into class. I'm going to do my homework as quickly as possible. And I'm going to go hang with my friends. And you have like this huge, like never, ever, ever again in your life, once you're outside of school, are you going to have so much like quote unquote free access to experts? And I really wasted it. I really wasted it. I was not a serious student when I was younger.
Oh my God. It's taken me 15 years after school to hear this. Where were you?
I know. I would tell my younger brother that. He doesn't care though.
Yeah, because I mean, my professors are some of the top, even statesmen now, you know. These were economics teachers. They were smart and we had access. You could go ask them anything. Why didn't we think about that?
I don't. I tried to be better about it in grad school, but by the time I was in grad school, I was running OZÉ and I was flying from Boston to Ghana once a month and I just didn't have the time. So that was to my younger self. Take advantage of your professors. That's what they're there for.
Very good advice. And then the second question is, I am fabulous because
I do what makes me happy.
Oh, I like that. I do what makes me happy. And while you're doing what makes you happy, it helps the rest of us. So that's fantastic, really. Okay, and the final one book that has greatly helped me in business is?
I tried to think about that one in advance, and I read books for fun. Like outside of school, I just started reading books for fun. I listen to a lot of podcasts. And I think one of the podcasts I really like is 99% Invisible. It's about design and using, the design that we can't see. That's why it's called 99% Invisible. And how you can create systems that get people to take actions, to have thoughts, to do behaviors that are good for them, that they want to do, but they're not necessarily like going to do. Just like, a very clear example is if you have a big plate, you're going to eat more food. If you want to eat less food, get a smaller plate. And it's like how you can design your environment so that you can make the choices you yourself want to make. And that type of thinking really influences OZÉ, right? Like, how can we design OZÉ so that you've downloaded it because you're committed to record keeping, but you might forget that commitment when you're really late and a baby's crying in the other room. So how do we design OZÉ so that you can stick with that commitment? So tons of podcasts, but I'd say that's one that probably influences a lot of the way I think about business.
You said it's called what?
99% Invisible.
Okay, and it's on Apple Podcasts as well.
Yeah, and anywhere you get a podcast, you'll find it.
I like that. I like that. So you make things around you functional so that you actually do it and not just put it there. Oh yeah, I bought that 18 years ago. I thought I was going to use it for XYZ, but never.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like that. Oh, thank you so much, Meghan. Before you go, any last words for, the women in our community? Majority of us are into business. Others are, now considering. Any last words for us, please?
I would say just do it. The best time to start a business, if you haven't already started it, is today. Ghana is growing, and with the Continental Free Trade Agreement, you're going to get opportunities that fell in your lap in a way that we haven't seen in generations. And so get your experience now, work out the kinks now so that you can take advantage. And of course, if you start a business today, the best time to start using OZÉ is also today. And if you started your business yesterday, it's still not too late. So I would say go for it and make sure that you have the right support in place to do it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Meghan, for making time for this.
Of course. I was happy to.
Tell me, how was that? I had a great time asking all these questions, and I hope that something in it spoke to you. Ladies and gentlemen, I tried this app myself, and it's so easy to use because it's here. And I'm able to send receipts, invoices, and all that. You can even put in discounts and all. You put in your logo, and it looks really professional. And you don't have to now go and sit and write receipts and all. So it's really a good product, ladies and gentlemen. Try it out. We've added the link. Try it out for yourself. I tested it for about 6 or so months before I started paying. So yes, I used the free version. I really wanted to understand it and how it works. And I know that this is the kind of product that I needed when I started my business about 6.5, 7 years ago. So you try it. And also let me know, how did this speak to you? Give me some comments in the comment section. And ladies, gentlemen, just to make sure you've subscribed to this channel as well, because we are committed to bringing you valuable content to help you do business better so that we can create wealth and impact people. So until I come your way again, same time next week, 12 noon GMT on Tuesdays, right here for Mind Your Business. You take care of you. God loves you. Bye.